own your narrative, to capture your credibility, and to be the authority that I know all of you are, because all of you have an area of genius that allows you to do what you do every day and impact your clients in amazing ways. So, but let's talk about a sobering truth. Women are less likely to talk about their wins compared to men, even when they have identical achievements. And I want you to think back, consider if you've ever been in a conversation with a male peer, um, if you've thought about a conversation you've had recently, how confident was he to share his area of genius? How confident was he to raise his hand and share his thoughts? And how often do we table what we think? How often do we hold back our abilities because we're not quite sure? With the Authority Accelerator program, with this type of work, it will make you feel uncomfortable. I will guarantee that. And that's good. Uncomfortableness causes growth. And I want you to start to get very comfortable in who you serve and what your area of genius is and what the results you get with your clients when they work with you. Because if you're not building that authority, someone's taking it from you. Just like in war, if you're not advancing, you're retreating. It's the same thing here. Who's building the authority that should be yours? So, quick little bit about me, and then I want to get into this. Yes, I am an international author. I have my books behind me. I have been quoted in both the New York Times and Forbes, and we'll talk a little bit about that because there are a lot of things we can do to have others recognize our area of genius and increase our authority power. And I assist women to rise above that digital noise and amplify their voice. And the way that I do that is I focus on the triangle. There is the visibility formula, the influencer blueprint, and then the authority accelerator. All of these are critical when we look at our authority power, and they're all things that you can practice every single day without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like, oh my God, there's no way I can do this. I want you to develop habits that are sustainable, that become second nature for you, and that allow you to own the narrative even when you are not in the room. And that's a critical piece to this. We want to not only have our authority power and our area of genius clearly communicated, we want to allow others to amplify it for us. That's part of that process. So let's start with the visibility formula. I get it. Nobody likes to be a salesperson. I don't like to be a salesperson. Being a salesperson is horrible. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to feel icky when we're talking about our wins. In order to eliminate and remove that sales bug from our mindset and from our communication, we need to understand what we should be known for, what we want to be known for. When I work with clients, I ask them, and I'm not saying you have to do this, but it helps you to get clarity very quickly. If I could wave a magic wand and say, boop, this is the one area that you know absolutely down to your gut, down to your soul, that you can do. If you got your hands on that client's problem for this one area, you know you can complete it transformatively, disruptively. None of the ers. Competency can't cut it anymore. I can do it better. I can do it faster. I can do it quicker. I want you to remove the language from your vocabulary. We want to look at how we really blow things up for our clients. I want your clients, after they've worked with you, because I know they do this, but this helps them how they share your area of genius with others. You want your clients to go, holy bananas, I can't believe you helped me solve that. And I have so much more freedom and so much more room. And helping them understand what that area of genius is gets them to share that kind of accolades for you. So when you're talking about what you should be known for, if there's one thing that you could only practice for the rest of your career, what would that be? What would that look like for you? And again, I'm not telling you you have to do this, but the riches are in the niches. If you are very, very clear about getting down to that one thing, and you make sure that you're leading with that in your communication, in how you show up for others, and how you comment for others, and how you get interviewed, and how you do networking, and how you do content, and how you do videos. I can go on and on and on. Having that area of genius, I am known for this. This is something that I know I can do hands down. That's the way it should be. And when you have that, then you can reverse engineer to what problem you solve. People don't hire me to write content. Is it one of the things that I deliver? Absolutely. But no one wakes up in the morning and says, if I could only get a content writer, my problem would be solved. No one wakes up in the middle of the night and says, God, I wish I could find a content writer. I'm so freaked out about this. That thought never crosses my client's mind. They wake up and they say, oh my God, I have to crawl and scrape and fight again to try to get a call or a sales pitch or an email read. And I'm just constantly fighting, fighting, fighting. And I want them to have people show up for them and raise their hand and go, how do I work with you? And when you get down to that problem that you solve, where it's really one core thing, and the way that I've practiced it is every time you write down something that you think they would say, the next question you should ask yourself is, why is that important? And then go to the next answer. Well, why is that important? And go to the next answer. When you do that 4 or 5 times, you'll get down to the problem that you solve. And I also want you to listen for language, because your clients will say 1 or 2 things repeatedly that gives you an indication that they would be a right fit client for you, because that's the problem that you solve. So again, we started with what we want to be known for. We've gone down into the problem that we solve. When we do those 2 things, naturally, we funnel down into always providing value, because we're always looking at their problem and how we can help them move the needle. If you're always keeping their problem front and center in every single communication, conversation, engagement, how you show up, it's natural for you to start problem solving. You're already acting as if they're a client of yours. And that's a good thing. We want to do that because they see that you're providing value. One of the hardest things in this to do is to avoid the I trap. And I wrote down something. I read it. I saw it with someone who I follow and on a different app. And she wrote this. And I couldn't understand why it kind of struck me weird or struck me as odd. And then I'm like, oh, it's because she's talking about herself over and over and over. If we actually make these complete sentences, my work has been amazing. I'm just in time to prepare for the upcoming week. I leave Sunday. I provide a keynote on Monday. I go home Tuesday. I fly out Wednesday. I do another keynote Thursday. I fly out Friday. I'm so busy. I. Absolutely not. When we provide value, we always are thinking of the other person and we're always referencing them, their outcomes, what they are looking for, how they can move the needle forward. People will remember you when they feel that you are on their side to help them solve their problem so that they have one thing off their plate. In the visibility formula is that stickiness. We want to be sticky. We want people to remember us. And we want people to remember us based on how they felt and what they got out of the conversation. Time is something that I think we kind of throw away like it's spare change. And time is the most valuable thing that you have and that your clients have. And when you treat their time as gold, they will remember you. One of the ways that we can start practicing that to get out of that eye trap is really understanding our defining statement. I put this in here because I think this is really critical. It starts with an I statement and immediately moves into my client. I work with whoever your right fit client is, who want to. What problem do they want to solve? So that what results do they want? I talk about myself for a fraction of a second, and then I'm right into my audience. And the great thing about this defining statement is it helps people understand who you work with, categorize themselves into that statement. So they're like, hey, I'm that person. You would work with me. Hey, I have that problem and I want that problem solved. Hey, that's a result I want too. They're seeing themselves in a conversation with you in the future as a future client. Again, stickiness. Visibility isn't just about views and followers, it's about relationships and having those types of conversations that stay with people. So, my defining statement, and again, you can change this per audience. That's the beauty of it. If I was talking to speakers, if I was I'm doing an NSA business lab later in the month, I would say, I work with speakers. I'm a speaker. That's awesome. Who want to have higher bookings, more bookings at a higher dollar value. Well, I want that. I want to get booked more and I want to get paid more so that they reach more right fit clients and have more credibility. Yeah, that sounds great. I want that too. So again, the template allows you to move into that. And when you do that, again, you're helping your audience quickly identify with you, which is valuable, and understand what it is that you do and how you can help them, which is also valuable. So please write down your questions. I'm sure things are coming up for you. And I'm making sure that I'm going to remind you every time, write down things that are coming up. This is important because this may feel counterintuitive to what you do, or you may go, well, wow, I've never thought of it that way. And I want to have those conversations when we're done. The second area is the influence blueprint. I want you to be voice forward. No random acts of content. And this is my soapbox that I'm going to get on because it makes me insane when I see this. Absolutely makes me insane. Linda announced that she is getting an award at the end of the month. Most of the comments that I saw were, good job. Way to go. So fantastic. You missed your opportunity to share your area of genius. Every comment, every conversation, even if you're on a panel and you only get a minute to talk, your defining statement that's only 30 seconds long can have an impact and can be voice forward. All my books are up. That's not random. I want you to remember that I'm an international author and I'm working on my 6th book. Anytime that I talk in a networking event, if I'm being introduced to someone, if I'm being interviewed, if I'm doing a podcast, I'm always thinking about how my area of genius can help drive the conversation forward. And all of them are opportunities. All of them are opportunities. Do not throw away comments, uh, comments, anything. Don't toss it. Don't toss it away like, oh, it's fine. One of the ways that you can make sure that you do not have random acts of content is you should have what I like to call magic words and phrases. Magic words and phrases are things that you say that highlight your area of genius, that are short, clear, and repeatable. Because journalists love short, clear, and repeatable. I was a journalist. I love that. A little quirk that I can use as a headliner, something that I can always reference that person with. It also allows me to categorize that person. Short, clear, repeatable. I'm the authority on authority power. Short, clear, repeatable. I am America's digital content futurist. Short, clear, repeatable. You can have a slightly longer one if you need to, talking about, if you have one thing that you can leave with an audience member, and you'll get questions like that when you do a podcast, when you're having a live interview, when you're doing a panel discussion, when you're at a networking event. Well, what's one tip that you can give me? Have something ready to go. Practice, practice, practice. And again, make sure that every conversation, every communication is through that lens of your area of genius, through that lens of your influence and your authority. Because every time you do it, you're attracting more of those types of clients, and they're able to associate you with your area of genius quickly. The other thing that I love doing is leading conversations with strategic questions. And when I say conversation, that could be in anything: a digital conversation, an interview, a podcast recording, even if you're on stage for a keynote. All of these have strategic questions that you can ask. A good attorney never asks you a question that he or she doesn't know the answer to. And you should be the same way. If you have an area of genius, Laura, I'm going to pick on you because I love you. So if Laura was going to do a strategic question, she might ask, so when you think about your marketing spend, do you have a good feeling, a neutral feeling, or a bad feeling? That's a great question. And it's also not a yes or no question. Yes or no questions kill conversations. Good job. Fantastic work. Kills conversations. There's nothing to follow up with. Strategic questions keep the conversations going. And it invites others into the conversation with you. Your influence can only work if others want to converse with you and other people come into the conversation with you. And those are the best conversations to have. When I thought about the influence blueprint, if you've ever watched the movie Trading Places, and Eddie Murphy's character is in that restaurant talking to that very, very wealthy investor. And he asks a question about the futures stock market, and the entire restaurant gets quiet. And then he answers the question, and then he asks the question as a follow-up. That's what I want for you. I want everyone to stop talking and listen in, but you're leveraging their listening in to ask them a question. The strategic questions guide them down the path where your solution just happens to solve the problem. It isn't you pitching features and benefits. You're asking questions to help them go, oh, yeah, I've never thought of that. When I talk to my clients, when I have my initial conversation, and I just had one yesterday, and I'm having another one with this gentleman tomorrow, and he's already told me he's gonna be booking time with me. He he said, I need to talk to you some more. I love that. That's what I want for you, for people to go, I need to talk to you. I asked him, you know, when you're thinking about your right fit clients, which ones come to mind? And then he listed the three. And I said, okay, which one jumps out at you as, yes, that's the best one? And he said, oh, it's the last one. Well, why is that? These are strategic questions that are guiding him down his own path of discovery. I don't need to know every single thing about his business. No one knows your business better than you. No one knows your services better than you. No one knows your story better than you. But if you have a guide to help you reimagine and reconnect with that information, you come up with all sorts of amazing things. And that's what the strategic questions do. They help guide the person down the path as they're envisioning you leading them and continuing to lead them. The last item is we want to speak to outcomes, not activities. Now, it can be very uncomfortable to speak to outcomes because you're like, well, if I build websites, someone's paying me to build a website. I'm here to tell you that they're not paying you to build a website. They're paying you to build a digital asset for an outcome. And I see Laura shaking her head. Yes, yes. If it was just the activity of the website or the phone, or then we'd all be competing on price and we'd all die because that's the race all the way to the bottom. When you think about the outcome, what they're really leveraging it for, then you're able to speak to that outcome. People don't hire me to write content. People don't hire me to fix their LinkedIn. People don't hire me to help them create their magic words and phrases. People hire me because they want to have a clearing within their business where the way they show up has people raise their hand and say, how do I work with you? I want to work with you. Can I throw a bunch of money at you so that I can work with you? And yes, people say that. People have said that to me. Can I just pay you $10,000, $20,000? Like, would that be okay? You pause 3 seconds for dignity, and then you say yes. These are the conversations we want to have. And when we speak to outcomes, we're helping them envision what they're actually paying for. That's where the value lies. Yes, there are deliverables, but the value is in that future state of success. People, when they work with me, want to have people raise their hand constantly, that every day they don't wake up fighting to try to get in a new prospect. They're fighting to try to get in leads. I can't tell you the last time I spent money on marketing, but I don't do that. I show up as an authority. That's how I get people in. And people say, well, where do you get your clients from? Word of mouth. They've heard me speak. They've heard me on a podcast. They've read one of my books. They've done a consult call, a free consult call with me. These are all ways that people come in. None of those cost money. Well, the book does. I'll take that back. But you can't spell authority without author. So that's why I do it. So having this influence blueprint and being voice forward will help you move into that. And the last area is the authority accelerator. This is where we are leveraging our community and other people's authority and credibility to highlight ours. This is where you think about who are the influencers in your industry. And I don't want you to think about small people, right? Linda was saying that you want to play big. We want to play big. We don't want to have small stakes here. If you could pick one or two or three influencers that you think are just the gold standard for your industry. And I want you to think of that bold. I want you today to find them on social media, wherever that is. I want you to first start commenting on their content in a way that adds value. So you're going to introduce your area of genius. You're going to talk about things. You're going to highlight things. You can even disagree with them. That's okay. You're going to share that content with your community, and then you're going to connect with them. So you've supported them. You've added to their conversation and bringing value to their community. You've helped elevate their content. And I don't care if someone has 500,000 followers on LinkedIn, they still think in the back of their mind when they post something, is this the day that my content dies and nobody cares? Everyone has that feeling like, oh crap, is this going to be the day where no one wants to show up for my event and no one wants to? They all think that, all of them, even the most influential ones. They have that in the back of their head. They appreciate people who show up and, again, add value to the conversation. That's where you're going to stand out. I also want you to think about curating that community of value. Who are you inviting into your circle? When I get networking requests, I look at how not only they can help my community, but my community could possibly help them. How can I be that connector for them so that everyone has a chance at the table? Everyone can help everybody else. Maybe one of my connections knows somebody in a different industry. I love doing that. That that in and of itself makes your authority shine because you're thinking about others and you're thinking how you can provide value, even if they never become a client. And we're going to talk about that. You want to also find your PB&Js. This is a term from Pamela Slim. She actually lives in my neighborhood and I get to see her all the time and she's amazing. If you have not connected with her, I highly suggest that you do. She talks about referral partners that are really good as PB&Js. You go together like peanut butter and jelly. It is a natural fit. It is a natural overlap. It complements and it makes sense to work together. Nona Prather is my booking agent, and she's also one of my PB&Js. And Linda, I know you know her very well. She, when she gets speakers that come in that say, I can talk about anything, or I'm a motivational speaker, and they have no actual area of genius defined, she goes, work with Lisa, come back to me. I know when you work with Lisa, she'll get you shipped up. Everything will be tip-top shape. And then I'll be able to take what she's done and I can go to town and get you booked. So that's one of my PB&Js. You also want to create your evangelists. Laura Patterson is one of my evangelists, and I am obsessed with her. Let me tell you why. So when I spoke to Laura, Laura is not someone who would be a right fit client to me. Laura will never need my services. She will never hire me. She doesn't need me. She's got her authority power locked in. But we had a conversation around whether or not she should do a LinkedIn newsletter. And I don't know if you noticed, Laura, but I asked you strategic questions that led you to your own conclusion that, yeah, I probably should do this. And then she was a little worried about doing it. And so I said, let's get on a call. It was a 20-minute call. I helped her set it up. We talked about, the direction it should be. We talked about the title of it. And then she went to town. And within 24 hours, you had over 200 subscribers. And then like just a few days later, you had like 900 subscribers. So it worked. It worked well. Why did I do that? She'll never be a client. My boyfriend was like, why are you doing this? Why do you give away your services for free? This is why. Every time Laura looks at that newsletter, every time Laura gets new subscribers, Who do you think she's going to think of? This girl right here. Every time she does a new LinkedIn newsletter and she gets work out of it, who do you think it's going to remind her of? Me. And I've given her something of value. It was not a lot of time or effort for me to sit down and help her do it. And I know having that digital asset is going to do wonders for her. So why wouldn't I do it? My brand is being relentlessly helpful. So, of course, I'm going to support her, even if she's never a client, because she will tell other people, you need to hire Lisa. And Laura's got her hand up. Yes, you need to hire Lisa.
You need to hire Lisa. And when you are a good evangelist, you are giving credit where credit is due. So I had put out when I first created the newsletter that it was done with the help of Lisa. And I put something out to the leadHERship global community that it was with Lisa's help. And when I am in leadHERship global and other communities and the topic comes up, I mention Lisa. So good evangelists are your champions, are your promoters, right? So I just wanted to point out there's behavior associated
That's
with
right.
a good evangelist. So if you're wondering if you have any, think about the behavior. And if you're wondering if you can create any, be clear about the behavior. So that's my only comment.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love that. Thank you, Laura. And also, some of my largest client work has come from my evangelists, someone who would personally never hire me. I have promoted certain organizations where I'm like, oh, you got to work with this person. I did some free webinars with them. I'm planning on working with them. This is the person to hire. And it was obvious to me what value they brought. And so because I understood who they worked with and their area of genius, when I had that clarity, I could spot them everywhere and I just kept referring. It just referring. So making sure that you have those evangelists, your PB&Js, your influencers, all of those accelerate your authority because they're accelerating your communication around what you're known for and why someone should hire you. And that's what we want. And supporting them is key. When I say support them, when they do a post, comment. When Laura did her LinkedIn newsletter, and if you haven't signed up for Laura's LinkedIn newsletter, go do it right now. It's got good stuff in it. Her first one, I was like, wow, she's going to kill this. That's how you support people within your community. You make sure that you're always lifting them up. You make sure that you're always connecting with them. You make sure that you're always leading with value. Absolutely. And thank you for that, Laura. I love that. So again, our triangle. We're going to talk about our triangle. It isn't the quantity. People ask me, well, how often should I post? Or how many posts should I do in a week? Or how many emails should I send out? So I live in the world of multiple right answers. And I think that if it's something that you can sustain, first and foremost, that's huge. Sustain, sustain, sustain. If you can't keep it up, it will never stick. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And actually, one of my magic words and phrases is this is a climb with no summit. Wherever you are, you still have 100% to go. So keep going. Every day, get up and make the commitment. Do a tiny marketing action. Have a conversation. And if you make that a habit and you're always thinking about the value, the quantity isn't as important as the quality. What am I doing to connect with people? If I'm connecting with an influencer, why am I doing that? How can I help them? If I'm making a comment on something, is my comment going to help my community? And is my comment going to help their community? It's the value. There are times where I'll go for a couple of weeks with one of my influencers and I don't make a comment, but then they post something that resonates with me. It makes me stand up and pay attention. And I go, oh, if it's making me stand up and pay attention, it probably has to do with my area of genius. I probably can talk about it. Betsy Tong is one of my community members, and she's a massive influencer. And she's just amazing. I've interviewed her, I've had conversations with her, and she will she will make sure she understands your area of genius. And if you're commenting on one of her posts on LinkedIn and you haven't tied it back to your area of genius, she will ask a strategic question to have you go, oh yeah, I could talk about that. And she's done that to me a couple of times because sometimes I'm responding to her comments at like 5 in the morning and I'm not quite awake yet. And then she'll say something in the comment, and I'll go, oh, yeah, I should probably talk about authority power because I'm the authority on authority power. Thanks for the reminder. So, again, it's always about that value. And start with just one action towards your authority. This is not something that you have to do by leaps and bounds, but every single step that you take within your authority adds momentum, adds momentum, adds momentum. Pamela Slim calls them tiny marketing actions. Mark LeBlanc calls them storm starters. Call them whatever you like, but it's a small thing, and you might think it's insignificant. I am telling you, every interaction that you have can make an impact on your community, can make an impact on an influencer, can make an impact in your industry in general. Every single one. And if you just do one a day, like taking a vitamin, that's a start. And as you get better at it, maybe you'll do 2 a day. Maybe you'll do 3 a day. I start every morning instead of being on Facebook or X or any other platform. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm doing my storm starters and my tiny marketing actions. I'm asking for a conversation. I'm asking how I can support. I'm making a comment. I'm sharing a post. I'm posting something. I'm doing a newsletter. It takes me maybe 15 minutes in the morning. I'm not asking you to spend hours and hours and hours. This is something that if you do it right, that one little spark can blow up the whole thing. And it's wonderful. And also, don't waste, and again, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Don't waste any opportunity for showcasing your area of genius. I can't say that enough. This when Laura talked, she talked about her newsletter. It's important to focus on your area of genius and always tie stuff back into it. When I first started in marketing, oh my God, 1996, 1997, oh my God, a long time ago, it took maybe 6 or 7 communications for someone to recognize and respond. The going right now is about 75. 75 touches for someone to go, oh, that's what you do? I could use that. Every single one has to be done. You cannot waste them. Do not waste them. We have so many times that we have to touch them. And that's why that one action every day can move that needle and get people on board. And one thing that I do want to offer for leadership global members exclusively is I have an Unleash Your Authority Power program. It is a very intensive, I will say intensive, 8-week authority acceleration program. We learn a foundational element and then we practice it in real time. So you are every single week, you are moving the needle and you will get activity and results almost immediately. I know, I think, did Nisha join? Nikema joined, and I've actually done a couple of free sessions with her, and she's already seen movement. So it's amazing. I want you to be able to attract those higher value right fit clients. When you understand your area of genius, you can actually charge more. Wow, what a concept, right? And you can do that even in a recession, even in a pandemic. I doubled my revenue during the pandemic because I invested in my authority. You can get more speaking engagements. You can get more interviews. You can get talks with the New York Times or Forbes. New York Times, real fast. I didn't know the reporter that contacted me. And when I asked her, how'd you hear about me? She said, oh, another reporter recommended you. Another reporter that, again, I didn't know. Authority allows you to claim your space, claim your area of genius, and people will notice. I'm taking $1,000 off of the program. And the offer will expire on September 30th, and there's a reason for that. And I will be making an announcement next week. I wish I could talk about it now, but I have some very large news coming up that, again, is tied to the authority power. So I know it works because I'm living proof of it. So if this is something you're interested in doing, please, please, please. Actually, whether or not you're interested in doing it, book your consult call with me. I give away 30 minutes for free. I want to talk to you. I want to help you. I'm here to help you. I want to see you not only survive, but thrive and continue to thrive and have predictive revenue and have people that just show up and want to talk to you because you have invested in your authority power. Please book your free consult call. I just would need the proposal signed and the commitment fee paid by September 30th, which I can talk to you about later. But please call me or email me and I will help you. And also, please be sure that you connect with me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my newsletter. I give away so much free content, it's criminal. Please, please, please make sure that you are contacting me because I want to help you become the authority that I know you are and to have crazy, amazing success that is possible even in uncertain times. Thank you. And I would love questions. I want lots and lots of questions. And if you don't have questions, I'm going to be